These two missing posters are forever etched into my memory from 9/11. Two people I never knew, but whose faces followed me everywhere I went for weeks, maybe even months, since missing posters were slow to come down well after the fate of those missing was known and accepted. 9/11 started as a gorgeous late summer day here in New York. I had just moved into my first apartment, which was on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, a few months back, and on that morning I had woken up early to practice guitar before my 9 to 5 in Midtown and had my phone off so I wouldn't be disturbed. When I turned it on at about 9:15 a.m. as I was ready to leave, I had a lot of voice messages from friends and family about how the towers had been hit by commercial airplanes, that they were burning on live TV, and how it was surely a planned act of terrorism and not an air traffic control mishap or multiple pilot errors. Until that point, I had no clue that anything was happening, much less that, and since I had no TV at home, I had no visual way to make this nightmare scenario seem real. So I left the apartment, walked to the subway, quietly descended the stairs along with the rush hour crowd, and I remember an unspoken feeling between us all of, should we be doing this? Should we be going down to and getting on this underground train knowing what's happening downtown? I think because the general mood was one of confusion, we all just tried to act normally. So I hopped a downtown 6 train, and a few stops later at 59th Street and Lexington Avenue, I transferred to a downtown N train. And while everything was still operating as usual down there, at least for that 20 or so minutes I was on the 2 trains, just before 49th Street, which was to be my stop to go to work, the train stopped altogether in the tunnel. What followed was a long 45 minutes of total silence in a packed standing room only commuter train with a new unspoken feeling coming over us all. This time it was the feeling of, we know the train has stopped because of what's going on downtown, but we don't know exactly why. Now keep in mind that the N train's path eventually takes it directly below where the towers were standing. And this did cross my mind, but what I was about to find out was obviously the shock of a lifetime. When the train actually started moving, and while I don't know if it went beyond 49th Street, pulled into the station where I got off, I went upstairs and rolled into work at about 10:40 a.m. to see a group of my coworkers huddled around a TV in stunned silence. I asked if the fires had been put out yet, and my boss looked at me like I was nuts and said, "The towers are gone, man. There's no work today." In total disbelief, I said defiantly, "Well, what are you talking about? They didn't get knocked down." He then pointed to the TV and said, "Look, man," and that's when I saw their collapses on a loop. At some point I left, and along with millions of other New Yorkers, walked around in a daze for hours. This daze lasted for weeks, and while I have other memories of that time, it's those missing posters that made the situation so real for me. The thought of family members plastering their loved ones' faces everywhere, despite seeing where they worked being destroyed on television. So as we remember 9/11 today, 24 years later, remember to hug and cherish the ones you love, because everything can change in an instant.